up, YouTube? Back again with another video, and this is a Christmas special. A Christmas special from me. Me! Justin X. And today we're going to be checking out some scary Christmas stories. Just because, I'm just interested. I've been thinking about doing this little Christmas special for a little while. And this one's called The Snowman by Horrorflix. I mean, animated Horrorflix. And let's get into it.
I was a struggling ghostwriter, and I thought a break away from the city to spend time at a remote ski resort would be a good way to clear my head and help me get back on my feet. There weren't any other cabins around, so I was guaranteed a few weeks to reflect and enjoy the isolation. At least that was the case until the final week of my stay, which made this Christmas truly unforgettable.
How so?
It first started at night when I suddenly woke up.
Oh no. Oh no.
Initially, I didn't know if it was from something I heard or from a bad dream. But either way, I felt compelled to look out the window. Which is when I noticed the snowman in the distance.
No.
Back when I was a kid, I would have been delighted at the mere sight of a snowman.
I never made it, so, nope.
But that sense of childhood nostalgia was soon silenced by the realization that I wasn't alone out there in the woods. The cabin where I was staying was the only one this side of the valley, so it seemed like a really long way to walk just to build the snowman. Despite the uncanny feeling, I was still far too tired to give it too much thought, and managed to sleep through the rest of the night.
That was your first mistake.
The following morning, to no surprise, the snowman was still there. I couldn't quite put my finger on it right then, but I got this strange notion that something was different about the snowman. I decided to carry on about my day and didn't think much of it, until later at night, when it happened again. I woke up suddenly for no apparent reason. I don't remember having a bad dream, but I guess it's common not to remember the dreams that we have, even the really bad ones. It felt like
Yo, hold on for a second, y'all. Alright, we're back.
Myself once again, gazing through the bedroom window. I could still see the snowman, even clearer now. I couldn't quite figure out why, but it gave me this odd sensation.
It's getting closer. It is getting closer.
I also started to wonder why the snowman was facing towards the cabin. And why anyone would build a snowman all the way out here. There weren't any other cabins around for miles.
Listen, buddy.
I didn't sleep all that
If I were you, I got out of that
expected.
house.
I decided to head outside the cabin for a closer look.
Cabin.
I looked around, but just as I expected, there was no trace of anyone, although it was hard to be sure, considering how poor the visibility was due to the weather. I chose to knock the snowman down just for good measure, since it was already beginning to feel like some kind of bad omen. Maybe I was overreacting, it was just some kids fooling around, but at least I wouldn't have to think about it anymore. Or so I thought. The following night, things got even worse.
Where my eyes at? Where they keep going?
But now I knew for sure it wasn't from a dream.
That keeps weirding me out, you know what I'm saying?
Like the sound of something hitting the window. I glanced through the window and was shocked to see the same snowman, identical from the day before. I remember turning in quite late that night, and there was no sign of a snowman when I turned out the lights. So I was pretty sure that it wasn't a kid's prank. I mean, who would let their kids out this late to build a snowman? And what was that noise on the window? The last thing I wanted to do is go outside in the blistering cold, but I knew that if I waited until the morning, any footprints would most likely be covered by another thick layer of snow. I reluctantly got dressed, stepped outside and walked up to the snowman. Which is when I discovered...
Y'all hold on for a second, dude. Back.
is when I discovered a single set of very large footprints leading from and to the forest.
Leave.
I couldn't shake this feeling of being watched, and that somehow I had made things worse by destroying the last snowman. So I decided to leave it alone and quickly headed back to the cabin.
Y'all see that?
The bitter cold stayed with me that night as I curled up in bed and tried my best to get warm. But the prospect of getting any sleep that night soon came to an abrupt end. The noise on the glass. I recognized it instantly. The sound of a snowball hitting the window. I knew deep down that it could only mean one thing.
No. Get out the house! Bruh!
And I left the cabin the very next day. I never knew his name, or ever saw his face, but I came to know him as the Snowman.
Hold on, y'all. I'll back y'all. Wow, that was a good one. Alright, y'all, video. This next one is by Llama Arts, and this is called A Horror Christmas Eve Story. Let's get into it. A Christmas Eve horror story. That's what I meant. That's what I meant. Shut up.
Last year on Christmas Eve, I was working late. I'm 23. I work in New York City and commute home every day on the train. Since I'm one of the younger ones in the office, I got stuck with one of the worst shifts, so I wasn't able to get home until 5 o'clock. My family had already left a whole hour earlier to go to my cousin's house, so I had to drive alone. After having a quick snack before the half-hour drive, I got back in my car and put my cousin's address into my phone. Halfway through the drive, it started snowing. I got to my cousin's house around 6 o'clock. It was snowing heavily by this point, and I just made it in time to catch everyone starting dinner. I brought all of my gifts inside and cheerfully said hey to everyone. I stayed until around 11 o'clock. The rest of my family left a little sooner. I stayed an extra half hour or so just to hang out before leaving myself. By the time I was leaving, the ground had accumulated at least 2 feet of snow, and it wasn't even done snowing. The drive home was nightmarish. The roads were hardly even plowed, and I had to drive under 20 miles per hour on most roads. The roads were completely dead at this point, though, most likely because everyone was smart enough to go home before the snow accumulated. Eventually, I turned onto a main road that I'm sure would usually be bustling, but at 11:15 on Christmas Eve night, there wasn't a single car or a single light from a store. It was a ghost town. But then I did notice the flashing taillights of one car. It was parked on the side of the road, and the smoke seeping out from its exhaust with the taillights giving it a red tint. As I got closer, I realized there was somebody next to the car waving their hand in the air. I assumed something was wrong and they needed help. So, me being the good Samaritan I am, I pulled up behind the car. When I opened my door, the guy approached me immediately, barely even giving me time to step out.
My goodness, back
He was
up!
an average-sized man, probably 5'10", 180 pounds. He spoke in a very demanding voice, asking me if I know anything about fixing an engine. I told him I didn't know much about cars. The guy responded very quickly to everything I said. He told me it's fine. He went inside of his car for a second, popped open his trunk, came back out, and told me to just wait by the trunk for a second. I had no idea what he wanted me to do. I was really confused. He walked over to the front of his car, and I heard him open the hood. I couldn't see anything he was doing since the trunk was blocking my view, and the loud wind of the snowstorm overpowered any small noises he might have been making. I put my hand on the back of the car and leaned my body in anticipation. when suddenly I heard 3 or 4 quick and aggressive footsteps in the snow behind me before I was pushed into the trunk. The man tried to close the trunk on me, but I kicked my feet up in resistance and held it up. I was able to overpower him and kick the trunk open completely. As I took advantage of the few seconds I had to get out of the trunk, I took out my keys. He tried to grab me now, and I dug my house key right into his neck.
Oh!
He fell to his knees, and his scream echoed down the deserted street. I was in my car and halfway down the road before he could even get up from his knees. A little further down, I called 911 and reported the guy. I came back in 10 minutes to find blue and red lights illuminating the windows of the deserted stores. The police held him until the ambulance arrived for him. I watched the whole thing, and nothing ever felt better in my life. I got home safely half an hour later and told my family everything. I was still very shaken that Christmas, and this remains possibly the most horrific thing I've ever experienced.
He lucky. Because if it was me, Justin X, he wouldn't be getting away, kiddo. Alright, you guys, this is another Christmas horror story. Got another one on y'all, and let's get into it. This is called True Christmas Horror Story Animated.
I hate Christmas. I hate it with the most malice intentions ever.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, the thought of Christmas makes my skin crawl. I wasn't like this before. I used to cherish the holiday tradition, but all of that's changed now. It all started a couple years back when I was 26 years old. It was the holidays, so Christmas was around the corner while festivities were in full effect. Hey, I'm on my way to pick you up.
I'm excited to go Christmas shopping!
Yeah, me too. Me and my girlfriend Emma had dated since high school, so the bond that we shared was something most couples couldn't fathom, to say the least. I decided to propose to Emma on Christmas. Figured I couldn't go wrong on such a monumental occasion. I remember it being a snowy evening when me and Emma went to the mall to do some holiday Christmas shopping. The mall was bombarded with more shoppers than usual as there was a holiday sale going on in almost every store. I remember being in need of a festive outfit for my parents' upcoming Christmas party as my wardrobe lacked the attire. I decided to check out the clothing store Forever 21 as I could see they had a wide variety of selection from first glance. I picked out an array of various Christmas sweaters and headed to the fitting room while my girlfriend waited outside for me. Oh yeah, fits way better than my dad's lame hand-me-downs. Hey babe, how does this look? I noticed my girlfriend
Where'd she
Emma
go?
wasn't there. I figured she must have gone back into the store to look at more clothes. As I left the changing room, I noticed from the corner of my eye that Emma was outside the store waiting in a huge line for something. I ended up purchasing one of the sweaters and began to approach Emma. Hey babe, why'd you leave me hanging in the fitting room?
I wanted to line up and take a picture with him.
Emma, this line is huge. I'll just dress up as Santa later and you can take a picture of me.
He's not Santa, though.
I looked towards the direction of where the lineup began and realized that there were two separate lineups. One lineup was for a professionally taken photo with the mall Santa. The other lineup was for a picture with a man dressed as the Grinch.
Wow.
We were unfortunately in the lineup for the Grinch as Emma was a pretty big fan of the character. I personally found the whole ordeal bizarre considering he didn't have any professional setup like how the mall Santa had. No platform, no chair, no professional photographer, no elf services, just him and the bench he sat on. I assumed he was one of those street performers that just dressed up for donations, except there was no tip jar or anything that would allow guests to donate in. Emma, this guy looks kinda sus. Can we just leave?
Please just relax,
This guy looks more than sus. He legit looked like the Grinch.
Henry. It'll only take a couple of minutes.
I decided to bite my tongue and proceed with Emma's request as there was nothing I could have said that could convince her otherwise. As we got closer to the front of the lineup, I could visibly see the Grinch's eyes light up with exhilaration, almost like I brought a sense of enthusiasm into his day. I decided to be ballsy and lock eyes with him, just to express more of my alpha male side towards this weirdo. As the line gradually progressed, I realized that he wasn't making eye contact with me. He was looking at my girlfriend, Emma. It was blatantly obvious he had an interest in my girlfriend due to the lack of attention he was giving others taking photos with him. What the hell is this guy's problem? Why is he checking on my girlfriend? We eventually reached the front of the line and approached the Grinch to take a three-way selfie with my cell phone. Hey, buddy, the girl gets a picture first. Dude, that's my girlfriend. I said, get behind the girl, kid. Stupid green prick. Another beautiful...
What did you just call me?
I mean, ho, 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 Merry Christmas. What's your name, little girl?
My name is Emma.
Ooh, what a beautiful name to match such a beautiful face. Why don't you come here and sit on... Back off, loser. She wants a picture with me, not you.
He's my boyfriend. Don't talk to him like that.
Sit on my lap and be a good girl, Emma, or else Santa won't give you any presents this year. Ugh. I'm putting you on my naughty list, you little brat!
Oh my
That's when we
goodness.
decided to head home. I remember dropping off my girlfriend at her place and then heading home to assist my parents in prepping for the Christmas party the following night.
This
My
dude.
parents were really old school and put a lot of effort into decorating their household, especially during festive holidays like this. Later that night, I remember making myself a glass of hot chocolate spiked with a little bit of my dad's whiskey. I sat by the fireplace and enjoyed the fire-crackling ambience while casually sipping on my drink. Figured I couldn't go wrong with that on a warm Christmas Eve.
What?
I remember hearing my cell phone ringing throughout the night. I recall being so intoxicated I couldn't see nor hear anything distinctively. Everything was blurry. It felt
Answer
virtually
that.
impossible to move any fiber of my body, almost like I was stuck in a subconscious state of sleep paralysis. I began to close my eyes and doze off again. A couple hours later,
Your
I
girlfriend dead.
recall a voice whispering my name. Hey, Henry. Henry, wake up. Hello, wake up, you little drunk. It's me, Santa. I could vaguely see the outline of a man that looked like a Santa figure standing in front of me. Bear in mind, I was still in a groggy and incoherent state of mind, so making out the gentleman's minuscule facial features was almost an impossible endeavor to comprehend. Hey, Henry, I bought you a Christmas present. Dad, is that you? Henry, listen, I want you to open up this Christmas gift first when you wake up. Do you understand me? Sir. I'm going to leave it right here in the middle of the Christmas tree, okay? Okay. Anyways, Merry Christmas, Henry. Merry Christmas, Dad. Shh, time to go to sleep again, Henry. A couple hours later, I get awoken by the light from the living room window illuminating on my face. I realized I had blacked out due to the spiked concoction I had whipped up the previous night. I checked my cell phone and realized that I had about 10 missed calls and over 100 missed texts from Emma. I opened the text messages, only to see the text reading,
Hey, is that you? Are you inside my place? This isn't funny, Henry.
and so on and so forth. What I found more disturbing was the last batch of messages, which read,
I knew you were going to propose all along.
Merry Christmas, Henry. It just kept repeating, over and over again. I began calling Emma's cell phone and only got her voicemail. That's when I closed my eyes and began recollecting the imagery of what transpired last night. I could vaguely recall someone dressed as Santa and leaving a present underneath the Christmas tree. That's when I noticed a box that looked out of place from the rest of the presents. I took the box and opened it, only to discover a severed hand. The hand had a message on it which read, Marry me.
Aw, heck no, dude. Alright. Jason X is okay. That was scary. Anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed that video. Hope y'all like, subscribe, hit the bell. Peace out, everybody.